put this on?
Yeah, you could just put that on there.
Here?
Probably a little bit higher. Yeah, usually it's out there.
Good evening. Can you guys hear me? Yeah? A little bit more? Here? All right. All right. How's everybody doing? Good. Sure? Still awake? Okay. Thank you, Dean. Thank you for the introduction, Gregory. Great to meet you. For those of you who don't know, my brother started as brother-in-law, now brother. I married his older sister, and he works in the provost office, Jeffrey Johnson, who some of you may or may not know. But now if you see him on campus, you can let me know what he's doing. He's actually doing work. No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here with you all tonight. All that stuff, what does it mean? Probably not much. What I would tell you is this. At the end of the day, what I'm most proud about, I'm most proud of family, I'm proud of relationships, and I'm proud of, I want to try to live life and treat people well, like at the end of the day. All those other things, it's cool, right? But the reality is what I wanted to share today. For those of you that are interested, and as you think about your career getting into sports, some of the paths that I've taken, the good things, not so good, made some good moves, but I've also made some mistakes. So I want to share that with you. I don't know if I have any secret sauce for you, but what I'll promise to do is that I can be open with you. I can give you my genuine experiences, like the real. I'll give you the real and the raw. I won't sugarcoat it. And if you give me your whatever questions you have towards the end and be really open and honest, we can have a real dialogue that hopefully can be helpful as you guys engage in your career path and your journey. Is that a deal? Cool, cool. So that's Marlins Park. I did hear a couple snaps and claps. So those who cheered, I'll have some free tickets on the way out. Those who didn't, don't worry about it. So I've been now with the Marlins organization almost 5 months. Before that, I was at Amazon. I wanted to title, if this talk would be anything, what's on the inside. It's got like a dual meaning. It's supposed to throw you off, make it like I'm smart, like I'm Jay-Z or something, like a double entendre. But the reality is, it's like what's on the inside. I've worked in sports my entire career, but I haven't worked for a property before, a property meaning a team, right? And so I've learned an incredible amount about what actually makes a franchise run and go. Like usually you think about, you go to a game, see the guys on the court or the field or the stadium and they're playing, running, whatever, and then you go home. I didn't have a great understanding of actually the operations inside of it that actually help players do what they do and help the operation help sell the tickets. And so when I look at this picture 5 months ago, I didn't really know what was on the inside. When I think about what's on the inside of the stadium that I go to every day now, I think about someone named Elisa, who's our head of marketing. She's had a career with the Brooklyn Nets, and she worked for Apple. And it's her job as our head of marketing to really think about the brand strategy, right? How do the Marlins show themselves in Miami? How do we market ourselves? What do we put on the scoreboards at halftime? Excuse me, not at halftime, but put on the scoreboards in between innings. I think about somebody named Antonio, who's an engineer who works with the grounds crew. And he's literally, the most expensive thing in the stadium you actually know is actually the grass. That's the most expensive thing. Like, it is extremely important. It's important to the guys on the field, but he's actually an engineer. I think about Christina, who runs our guest services, who went to school for service. She worked at Disney. And I think about Mike McKeon, who is actually have a partnership with Uber, because we have an Uber lot outside, and that has to be worked on, right? So there are all these different pieces and parts inside of this building, what's inside to actually make it go. And it's been eye-opening for me. And it's encouraging for those of you that are interested in job opportunities, because it's not just one job, you play the sport, or it's marketing and sales. There are tons of jobs in sports. And so what I want to talk about what's inside, is talking about you guys. Like, what's inside? What is it that you think about? What is it you dream about? What motivates you? What what's inside of you. So we'll move into that. And as we go through, I'm going to save most time for questions. If you have them, I'll try to run through the slides. And if you have something based on a specific slide, take a note, and we'll come back to it if we need to, okay? So as I think about myself, I was 2 years old. I made my first shot on a basketball hoop. It was not 10 feet, so you know. It was a 5-foot hoop, but I made it. My dad built a hoop out in the backyard. And all I can tell you is that sports is what I thought about. That's what I thought about all the time. I wanted to play basketball, I wanted to play baseball, played soccer, I played anything that had a ball in it, running around. And one thing I've learned in this phase, what I want to do is, since we're talking about baseball season, the playoffs are here, I put this talk into 3 stages with 9 points. 9 points because there are 9 innings in a game, to see if it makes sense. You guys let me know at the end if it works. But this first phase of discovery, I realized early on that I really love sports, but once my growth stopped, not as tall as I needed to be, and my skill level started to panel off, I was like, I'm not going to the NBA. So what am I going to do, all right? What would I do if I were still to be in sport? And so I had to think about, like, what is my passion? And so I'm questioning you all tonight, like, what is it you guys think about? For those of you all that are still kind of trying to find that thing, for me, I have to start at a level set and think about, like, what is the thing I'm thinking about when I'm driving in my car, or the thing when I wake up in the morning? Like, what is the thing that really sticks with me? What is the thing that when I'm supposed to be focused in class, my mind wanders, right? It's not a bad thing, you should focus, but that's the universe, that's the way of things connecting back to you to tell you, like, hey, pay attention, right? And so part of what I think about when understanding your passion is, before you can go into, like, finding that dream career, whatever that may be, it's like really, really locking in. Like, what are you thinking about in those quiet moments? As I continue to think, and I want to also be open about failures as well, opportunities. I used to think, I saw Jerry Maguire. Has anybody seen Jerry Maguire before? Okay. See, I thought I was going to be Barry Maguire. I was his, like, black brother. Like, I was going to be Agent Barry, and I was going to go to law school, and I was going to make all these deals, and I had opportunity to shadow an actual agent. And I was like, that is not for me. That is not for me. That's it. And so part of this really is a trial and error, right? There's no perfect way to do this, but really understanding your passion is how you get there. Like, this is a process, right? And it's not a perfect process. You walk into and you try a lot of things, but you start with the thing that gets you thinking, the thing that gets you excited. And now, identifying your strengths. This is inning number 2, identifying your strengths. I like to think of this as, what is the thing that you can do without having to think about it and do it at a very high level? That's a strength, right? I have a friend who is a math whiz. He works in analytics for a baseball team, right? Because he loves sports. And I literally can give him any number and he can spit it back out. No effort. He literally does that. So we all have certain gifts. We all have certain it's. And sometimes it's not multiple things, it's one thing. And what I would encourage you to do, to think through, and sometimes we need some help figuring that out, like, what is a strength? The strength for me is something that people have repeatedly asked of you because they can see something in you, right? So maybe you're the guy that every now and then when your friends are, like, getting down and they ask you, like, what do you think? Maybe that means you have really good sound judgment. Maybe that means you're able to make decisions quickly. That's just how I identify a strength, something that people continue to reach out to you for, continue to seek from you specifically. I have a friend named Amanda. In high school, she was not the best public speaker, but she was an incredible writer. I was a procrastinator. She was a writer. So I remember coming to her last minute saying, listen, I have these ideas. Can you help me get it on paper? And she's like, again, dude, seriously. Like, I need you to get focused. And I'm like, I will, next time. But what she was able to do is take my ideas, put them on paper, and I wasn't the only one. There are a lot of people in class. Now Amanda runs a brand strategy company, and she helps companies take their ideas, entrepreneurs take their ideas, and actually put them into action, right? Another example of how identifying your strengths, turns into what you could have in terms of a job, in terms of finding your passion. And now develop your pitch. This is basically like, who are you? Who are you? My name's Mike. I absolutely love sports. I enjoy connecting with people, building relationships, and helping leverage that to build partnerships for a company and also increasing the service level for an entire organization. Boom. That's who I am. It took me a while to develop that in a cohesive way, but once you understand who you are, what you will find in time is that you want to avoid the I coulds. Like when I run into people all the time and they say, well, I could do this and I could do that. And I could, I could do that too. And you can. Anybody who has a certain degree of intelligence and work ethic, there are a lot of jobs that you could do. And where I am hoping to ignite tonight with you guys is for what should you be doing? Not the what could you do, but what should you do? What is your skill set and what is your passion aligned towards that will allow you to do at a high level? And when I think about perfecting your pitch, you have to know yourself. There are a lot of people who have seen me and they're like, hey, you like to talk a lot. Why don't you go, maybe you should sell cars. And I'm like, well, I could do that. I like sports. Hey, you like to, so people will try to define your skill set for you. You have to have an idea of who you are, and what you do, and what you want to do. When you develop your pitch, your who you are, then you can walk confidently. You crush interviews when you know this. When you walk in for an interview and somebody says, so what is it about the job and why are you for the job? This is a classic question. Everybody's going to get it. Well, the reason this job is exciting to me is because I love insert. Who am I? I also have a passion for, because people want to know the passion points, and because of that, I'm a great fit for this job. When people say, oh, well, okay, this person is serious. They know who they are, they know what they want, and they know how they're going to accomplish it within this organization. And so, as I think about, as you develop your pitch, I want to help you package that because it takes some time and you don't have all day, quite frankly. I'm going to shoot straight. Like in sales, you'll tell you have 15 to 30 seconds to get there. People, as you meet them, and people who are more important, they have even less time to listen, but they want to hear, and people want good people. So you have to develop that skill set of who you are, what is your passion, where you want to be, what you want to do, and get it down to 30 seconds so that when you meet the person that you've been hoping to with that job or in that organization, you can easily and quickly define that for them. Those first 3 innings, if you guys are still with me. Those are 3 innings. So now let's talk about alignment, right? So we've discussed your passion, we discussed your strength, and then we discussed even developing the pitch. The alignment, well, the alignment is the relationship side of this. You talked about soft skills. I believe it. Social EQ. EQ, studies have said, are as important or more important than IQ, right? So the EQ is how do you handle yourself in social settings? How do you handle yourself? The reality is for me, and I'll be very candid, there are a lot of good people and a lot of smart people, and ultimately, a lot of times when I'm deciding who I'm going to hire, if it's very even, I want to know who do I want to take to a networking event? Who do I want to take to a party? Who's going to handle themselves in the airport when a client comes? I want to know, how do you handle yourself socially? Are you going to sit in the corner, make weird comments, have them running back on the plane, or are you going to engage them and connect? The way that we do that, I do it every day. Like I talk to people every single day. And the way we do that is by building relationships. I hesitated from putting networking here because I tend to think networking is kind of a one-way, short-time solution, right? People say, I'm going to go network because they're like, oh, I want a job. I want to see who I can talk to and give me something. This is the long game. Building relationships is the long game. This is not about what you can get from someone. This is about getting to know someone to build a relationship. Jeffrey wants tickets to a Marlins game. She usually does. I'm going to say yes because we have a relationship. He doesn't have to feel bad and be like, he's probably going to ask me for something now. Like, that's not how a relationship works, or it should not. So what that means is that if you're looking for a job recommendation, or you're looking for someone to introduce you to someone, if you've established a relationship, it should be no problem to say, hey, I'm interested in insert name of role, right? Because you have a relationship with them. This is not about what they can do for you and you only want to meet them for this one short-term need. This is about, I'm genuinely interested in getting to know you. I'm genuinely interested. I know when your kid's birthday is. I know about your parents. I know where you live. It doesn't happen overnight, by the way. Don't be weird. Don't be creepy, right? But over time, when you build a relationship, when you do that in a genuine way, then you find over time that, oh yeah, you know what? I know a guy who works for that team. I know someone, actually she runs marketing at that agency. I can put in a call. Every job I have ever had is based on relationships. I'm not the smartest, not the coolest. I've had some people who've been very kind and thoughtful and looked out for me, and there's always been a phone call that's been made that says, hey, what do you know about this guy? So often in this space, we talk about, like, who do you know? And I turn that back on its head. I don't care about who you know. I want to know who knows you. I want to know who knows you, who can speak to your character, who can tell me about what you're like when tough times hit, because that's what I care about. And if you don't have a relationship, they can't speak to that. They're like, well, you know, I can't give a recommendation. This is how it sounds on the phone or in person. You know what? I know John, but I don't really know John. He seems like a nice guy. That's not enough for me. And so what I'm encouraging you guys to do is, as you think about on this path, like, this is not about a networking quick fix. This is about establishing real, genuine, authentic relationships. And those are the relationships that carry you through a lifetime and that will allow you and see doors open up towards that passion, towards your strengths, towards where you want to be. Investing in growth. Growth. Everybody here knows who Steph Curry is, I'm sure. I hope. If you don't, raise your hand because I want to know. So, does anybody know who Coach Q is? Not K, Q. So Coach Q is Steph Curry's shooting coach. He's the guy with the white hair. You'll see him before the games. He's always pushing Steph and he's shooting all these crazy shots. He's the guy with the white hair. Coach Q is his shooting coach. Now, for those of you that follow basketball, have even heard, Steph Curry is, without a doubt, the best shooter in the game right now. Does anybody disagree? Because we can have that debate too. I have time, just not right now. Not only is he considered the best shooter in the game right now, a lot of people say he may be the greatest shooter to ever play. You can debate that, but the fact that you can debate it means that he's a pretty good shooter. We could agree on that, right? So if Steph Curry has a shooting coach, and if he shoots 200,000 shots a summer, why in the world would I not have a life coach? Why would I not have a mentor? Why would you not have a coach for where it is you want to be? Why is it in a business setting we've gotten to the point where we think we have it figured out so we don't need the assistance? Serena Williams has a coach. LeBron has a coach. Roger Federer has a coach. Name the actor, they have coaches. So we've got to turn this narrative of, because you're in a certain field, that you have it figured out. We don't. I invest in professional coaching. I invest in personal coaching, counseling, marriage counseling. It doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing. It's actually, invest in counseling means you want to be better. We got to have open conversations about counseling, about stigma. This is all about finding who you are. This is relevant to your job. Because I can tell you what happens in work when you're distracted and things are going bad, you are not your best self at work. You're not. And if you are not your best self at work, you're not going to be here for long. right? You have to be looking for something else. So when we're talking about finding the dream opportunity, you got to be willing to invest in yourself. How many conferences? I go to several conferences a year, several workshops. I want to know what the industry leaders are doing. I want to know what I don't know. And I know I don't know a lot, so I want to know. I want to keep learning. So I'm challenging you, encouraging you to keep investing in your growth. Invest in the next thing. Inning number 6, self-awareness. I could spend all day on this one. Everybody thinks they're self-aware. It's the rare person who actually says they're not self-aware who's actually self-aware. I have, when I'm interviewing, when I'm talking to people about potential jobs, this is one of the top, this is almost, I can't think of anything that's more important than being self-aware. This is why in inning number 3, he talked about knowing who you are. I was told my first decent job I had at ESPN, I thought I was killing it. Couldn't tell me nothing. I walked into my review. I walked like that too, I really did. I walked in and I sat down, I did the self-review first. You know, you do your self-review. Then you go talk about it with your manager. I gave myself almost 5s across the board, 1 to 5 and 5 being the highest. I knew I was killing it. I sat down, my manager said, Mike, thanks for taking time. So glad you're here. Let's talk about your review. I said, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Feeling real good. So I think we have a different view on your performance than what we saw. I was like, well, what did you see? You know, where you have 5s, we have 3s. 3s are meeting expectation. We would like to see you take more initiative. We didn't see you in meetings asking questions. Some of the other folks, the associates, they were asking questions. Oh, like, what? What do you mean? I was killing it. You saw me? What? So that happened, and I had a decision to make. Am I going to say, like, they're crazy? Or am I going to say, there's some work I need to do here, right? And so this self-awareness is less about finding fault. It's more about understanding where you can grow, right? That never changes. And so to the extent where you can start to, my goal in life is that somebody should not have to tell me anything about me that I don't already know. Doesn't mean I have it all together. It just means I'm highly aware that I have a lot to still work on. And so when people ask you another question like, huh, what do you need to work on? You're in a job interview. What's your issue? What needs improving? There's a way to answer that without taking yourself out of consideration for the job. Don't go too deep there, right? You still want the job. But I can honestly and openly say in that job interview, you know, I was once given the feedback that I didn't take initiative. You know, I took that feedback, I thought about it, and here's what I did. Every meeting after I got that feedback, I took a notepad and a pen in every meeting. I took notes. I sent those notes to my manager. I followed up. I sent those notes out to everybody in the group. I then asked if anybody had any questions. And after that, I came back and prepared minutes for the next meeting and the next meeting. Until my boss then told me, you know what? I can see a difference. So the way that I handle what are your challenges in an interview, I take a genuine, I don't tell them, oh, you know, I work too hard. That's bogus. Don't give me that. You know, I really, you know, my biggest fault, I just care so much. I just care so much. I don't want to hear it. It's not a fault. That's not a flaw. Like, be honest and be self-aware about your challenges and then tell me what you're doing to address it. Don't stay there. Like, don't stay in, I'm not doing that well. You got to rebound from it. But you got to know what it is. You got to know where you need to grow. You got to know where you can change. That's inning number 6. Y'all still with me? All right. A couple other things in this sixth inning I'll touch on. When I was at Amazon, so Amazon has 14 leadership principles. Some of you may have heard, some of you not. Like they live by that. Leadership principles is everything. So one of the leadership principles for those of you that are leaders or who have managed somebody or hope to manage somebody one day is learning to be openly critical of yourself. Be openly critical. Why? If I can say publicly, you know what? I screwed that up. That's my bad. Well, guess what my team then says, and guess what they think about me? Like, how many leaders have you seen and heard who never, ever apologize, who never, ever make a mistake? I want no parts of that organization. I want no parts of working with those types of people. I want somebody who's self-aware, who can say, look, guys, I told you this is what I expected, and actually, that's on me. I should have done a better job doing. And that empowers the team to then say, you know what, when I messed up, I should step up and be an adult and admit I messed up, and then fix it. So as you guys are thinking about that next opportunity or your first opportunity, if somebody tells you, if you're living in fear of making a mistake because you're like, you're not going to have your job, use your spidey senses. That's probably not the job. That's not it. Or that's not the manager. Good managers, good bosses are openly aware, and they can say when I messed up or what I should do better. And I encourage you guys to adopt that as well. Inning number 6. I dropped this picture in because I don't know if I told you guys, I moved from New York. I lived there for 10 years. I just like to laugh because they have on coats, and we don't have to wear coats down here now. So I kind of rub it in to all the people in New York, call them and tell them how warm it is in December. Because that's what that's what they used to do to us. Immersion. So if you think about in these last 3 innings, we talked about alignment, and we talk about the discovery, the immersion. Like that's getting right to it. Like it's time to go to work now, right? The immersion process. I think the most important part of immersion, yeah, that's actually a real subway picture. That used to be my morning commute. Delivering value. You know, a lot of what I came into being a new team member for the Marlins, there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot. I learned there are a lot of fans who are really passionate about the Marlins, love the Marlins, and there are a lot of people who are pissed off at the Marlins. That's real, right? And so what I had to do as the head of customer engagement, I couldn't tell them to screw themselves. No, that didn't work that way. I wouldn't be working for long, right? Because the fact is, as long as people are pissed off, that means they at least care. When people like completely leave and they stop calling and they stop emailing, then you have a problem. I mean, you've been in some relationships. I'm sure yours are great. But once the person stops calling, that's when you should be worried. If they're complaining, at least they care, right? And so delivering value is really about understanding, like, what are your commitments? When I came to the Marlins, the first season, I've been there 4.5 months, almost 5 months now, but this is our listening year, right? Derek Jeter is my boss. This year was about, he said, this year is about listening. This is the year of listening to the fan. We want to hear what people have to say, and man, have they told us. They told us. A lot of it is actually very positive, and a lot of it, the rest of it, is constructive. I'll put a pin in that. Constructive. Constructive. Constructive means, hey, I don't understand why you guys do that thing. I liked it better when you did that thing. That's a constructive comment, right? That's constructive. Screw you guys, you can't do anything right, boom, boom. Not so much, right? And so as we're thinking about delivering value, learning how to deliver feedback is also a big part of that. There will be a time when you're called upon to provide someone with feedback. You don't ever need to be brutally honest. Just be honest. Brutality, it's not necessary. Just be honest. You don't need to be brutally honest. Call it what it is. You don't need to flower it up, but just speak to what it is. What is it? We came in, the Marlins, some stuff was screwed up. It was not good. Now we got to fix it, right? We have a passionate fan base. Some of them will ride with us, and some people are going to wait and see on the sideline, and I respect that. You know why? Because it's real money they have to spend to come to games. And our job is to deliver value. I could spend my money at Topgolf. I could stay home and watch Netflix. I could go bowling. I could take my family. So if I'm going to spend my money, I want to know that some value is being delivered. And so for you personally, what value are you going to deliver to that next job or to that first job? What is it? How can you deliver value? There's no substitute for hard work. For working hard, I think I told you guys, or at least it was mentioned, I'm from Nashville. So growing up in Nashville at the time, late 80s, 90s, there was no sports team. No hockey team, no basketball team in Memphis, no Titans team, right? Upon graduation, there's this guy, he's an agent. He represents Steve McNair, our top receiver, and a running back. I was getting out of school, I called him. Didn't answer. I went to his office. Nobody there. I wanted to work in sports, didn't know what to do, so I just chased him down. I worked for him. He did not pay me. I'm pretty sure that's against the law, but that's okay. I got the experience. There's no substitute for hard work. This is the point of this bullet. That's how you deliver value. You say what you're going to do, and you do it. You show up, you work hard. That does sound cliche, but there's like no secret sauce of that. You got to work hard. Inning number 8 is practicing gratitude. Sounds mushy, but it's real. Gratitude. The point that I'll make here in gratitude is that there has to come a time when you put on blinders and you focus on your race. I have tons of friends on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. They're living their best life, man. They're out, they're doing this, they're doing that. And the more that I focus on what they're doing, I cannot be grateful for what I have and for what I'm doing. You cannot focus on what other people are getting and doing, their promotion, their new job, because your race is individual. It's different. It's different. And the more that you focus on what others are doing and getting and making, it makes it really difficult for you to actually be appreciative of your own journey. Your journey is your journey, and it's meant for you, not for anybody else. I'm not telling you to stay off Instagram. I'm just saying all of it's not true anyway. They're not really making that money. I'll make one more point in gratitude. Entitlement. We're not owed anything. Nobody owes you a phone call. Nobody owes you an email response. This is a shift in mentality, right? A shift in behavior. Not speaking to you saying you do this, but generally, I'm telling you what I see every day. You didn't email me back. I didn't get that job. It's not owed to you. It's not yours. And to the extent that you can have a sense of gratitude, it shows up in how you present, right? It shows up in how your eyes look and how you sound. When you don't expect anything from someone and you're only offering, you're serving, that shows up in a different way. I can tell you that. Two people can stand side by side and say the same thing, but one's entitled and one's not. It sounds a lot different. Same words, but it sounds different. So I would encourage you that guys, understand how fortunate you are to be sitting in the seat you're sitting. I don't care what you have going on in your life, you got a good life. And that gratitude shows through in the way that you present, it shows through in the way that you speak to people, and it shows through in who you are. Ending number 8, and now number 9, adversity. Embrace adversity. I'm not telling you to enjoy it. It sounds nuts, but embrace it. Everybody knows who Mike Tyson is? Yeah. Mike Tyson, if I were to say, you have a choice, Mike Tyson's going to hit you. He's going to punch you. That's not your choice. He's going to do that. But you have the choice to look at him and know that it's coming, or you can turn completely around and let him hit you in the back of the head. Is there anybody that would turn around? Some people say, yeah, I'd do it. I don't want to see that thing coming. Let me tell you what I would do. I would look him in the eye and I would brace like hell so that when he hit me and knocked me smooth out, I at least knew it was coming. And maybe I'm not in the hospital as long as you guys will be since you turned your back. The point here is, somehow in life we have adversity is something that we're surprised by. And what I want to encourage you today is, on this journey of finding this job, adversity is a certainty. It's not a choice, it's a certainty. And so a shift in mindset is, I expect the best, but know that challenges are going to come. They are absolutely certain. Family members die. Girlfriend breaks up. Husband's not doing what he's supposed to do. Kids acting crazy. Boss sucks. It is a certainty. So why are you surprised when it happens? Take the opportunity to brace yourself because you know it is coming. Positive mindset, yes, I expect the best, but adversity is going to come. LeBron James, 2010-11, helps form the Big Three, comes down to South Beach. Happy times, yeah? Adversity. There's not one thing I've ever done in life that didn't come without hard work and sacrifice. Nothing. Adversity. What does adversity do? Well, LeBron, he comes down to South Beach. You guys know the party they threw. Not one, not two, not three. We know it. We get it. That year, his first year, we lose. See, I said we. We lose in 6 games to the Mavericks. LeBron says it was the worst defeat of his life. Now, he's lost in the finals. He had lost before when he was in Cleveland in the finals. So it really wasn't that it was the finals, right? Like, what was it? Well, the expectations were different. They were favored to win against the Mavs. They weren't favored against San Antonio when he was with Cleveland. LeBron said he thought about that every single day until it showed him where his blind spots were. He had to improve. He had to work on a jump shot. He had to work on being a better teammate. So what if we think about adversity as something that's happening for you and not happening to you? What if adversity is happening for you? What if adversity is happening to push you to where you want to be? You either win or you grow. You don't lose, you grow. So if LeBron doesn't lose to Dallas, he's then not forced to go improve and be a better player. And guess what? The 2 championships in a row, they don't happen because he's not the player that he needed to be. So I'm often trying to shift my mindset. I'm encouraging you guys tonight. Like, this adversity that is promised to come, it will come. And when it comes, I'm going to accept it. I'm going to embrace it because I was expecting you. I knew you were coming. And this is not happening to me. It's actually happening for me. It's happening so that I can learn what I need to learn to get to the next step in my career, to get to the next place. This is actually happening for me. I mentioned blind spots, and I mentioned New York, so I'm going to connect those two. So I hadn't driven before I moved down here. I hadn't driven in like 12 years. Subway, Uber. I didn't drive in New York. They're crazy. I did not drive. Although I would say South Florida driving is crazy. Whew. It's nuts. But talk about blind spots. I came down here and I got to test drive cars for the first time in a long time. You guys don't know this, but there's all kind of new technology that happens in 12 years. There's these cameras that, like, when you back up, they just come on. You're like, what? That was not happening the last time I bought a car. Makes me sound like really old, but it just was not happening. I bought a car in like 99, and I hadn't bought a car again until 2018. Imagine that, all the stuff that happened. So changing lanes, there are lights that are flickering to tell you somebody's over here. It's blind spot monitors. Well, I thought about that, and I thought about it on the way, like, who's your blind spot monitor? Like, who is the mentor that helps you embrace adversity? Like, who is the person? Before I make any big decision, before I accept a job, before I got married, and there's nothing I've done in life that I haven't consulted with someone first. Because I don't know enough. If you don't have a mentor or several mentors, you got to get one. Who has the job that you think could be cool? Who has the life that you think is seen upstanding? Who is that? Who makes decisions that seems like they're a wise person? I would attach myself to that person. And I could do a whole nother talk about networking and building relationships, but there has to be a comfort level with walking up to people. I spent the summer, my sophomore year, I worked at this company and I went door to door for 6 months in hot Nashville in the summertime, wearing a full suit. So after they decided I wasn't Jehovah's Witness and they were like, what is this guy doing at my door? And what do you want, sir? I'm like, hi. If you want to get over the fear of rejection, go door to door. I don't know that I would do it in Florida, knowing some of the gun laws, but it's a different conversation. But you get the point. Literally, you walk up to people's door, and you are knocking on the door. They have no idea who you are, and you're trying to sell them a coupon. Seems nuts. Let me tell you what I learned from it, though. I learned to notice. I learned to walk into a driveway, and I see that they have a Tennessee Vols license plate. I see a swing set. I see a doormat. Maybe it says, God bless this house. So maybe they're spiritual. They have kids. They love football. That's how you start to connect the dots. Like, that's literally how it works in connecting and networking. That's how it works. You are on the border of intel and stalking. That's really what it is. That's what LinkedIn and Facebook has allowed you to do. Like, you literally, it is a fine line between doing your research and stalking somebody. But what you want to do is get smart about who you're meeting, who you're talking to. Hey, I see you went to Tennessee. Great to meet you. You like football. Hey, how about the game next week? You think you guys will take it? People immediately let down their guard. Next thing you know, we've talked about Tennessee football and the kids, they're playing on the swing set, and they just bought 3 of these coupons to Pizza Hut. They don't even eat pizza. So there is a art to building relationship. It's an art to meeting, to immersing yourself. Immersing yourself meaning, like, I don't care what they say. I don't care if they slam the door. Like, the fear is what sometimes holds us back. The fear of rejection, the fear of not trying. I will absolutely walk up to any person. After you've gone door to door, there is no person that I would not walk up to and say hello. Why not? I've had the door slammed in my face. I've been chased by a dog. It's happened. I don't like to talk about it, but it happened. All right? It's real. That's inning 9. And then evaluation. Evaluation, guys, is really the culmination of the height of self-awareness, right? It is the level set and taking accountability and saying, okay, all these things have happened, right? I have tried to discover my passion. I'm trying to think about who I am. I'm trying to understand, like, my strengths. I want to know, like, where my strengths are, where my passions, where do they intertwine? Like, why does it matter? What's my story? Who am I? And then we go into being accountable and immersing myself. And ultimately, we have to evaluate, because that's the only way we know what worked. And like I told you, I was going to be Barry Maguire at one point. Another point, I was going to be a judge or something else. I was going door to door. So it's been a lot of evaluation to be where I am right now. And where I am right now may not be where I am 5 years. I hope it's not. Right? I want to continue to evolve. But I encourage you, like there has to be an evaluation. So it has to be a goal. And then you got to be really honest about, give yourself a realistic time map. Like say, you know what? 3 months, I'm going to reach out to these people. Or in 2 months, I'm going to get this done in class. And then you got to hold yourself accountable. Like, did I do it? And if I didn't do it, why didn't I do it? And what am I going to change so that I do it next time? Evaluation. Now, I don't know if you feel like you got any secret sauce, but here's what I can tell you. Everything that's ever happened for me professionally is because someone was generous. I have not done anything on my own. Nothing. And so the reason you read all those accolades, there are a lot of people who helped make that happen. That's not me. That's a lot of hard work by a lot of other people. Right? It's not all on me. But I would encourage you all to really align yourself with people. You've heard the term iron sharpens iron, right? Like align yourself with other iron. Like people that are really trying to go get it, people who have like mind and some people who don't. Because sometimes when you're aligned with someone who doesn't think like you, it forces you to think about something differently. And maybe you become more self-aware in the process. And maybe you discover, you know what? I thought one way and I thought this was exactly where I want to be, but actually now I'm considering something different. So I would encourage you as you find your passion, you develop your strength, find where those places intersect, try lots of stuff. Try lots of stuff. Likely not going to get it on the first time or the second time, but try lots of stuff so you really have an understanding and then evaluate it. See how you did. If it didn't go the way you wanted, don't worry about what they're doing on Instagram. Don't worry about what he did and she did, or what he did last week, and what he's making, and what job she has, and what title she has. Don't worry about that. This is run your race. All right? Thank you, guys.